Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So, yeah. So welcome to our book review. This is the first of quite a number. Okay. So Susan has joined us.
Oh,
Welcome,
awesome.
Susan. Okay. I'm sure she's still her audio and all are still coming
Audio
up.
set up. Okay.
Okay. So but she's joining just in time. And so I took some time to already look through the first chapter. Well, I'm the one that shared, so obviously I had a bit of time today to go through. And so the first thing that stood out to me, like I said, this book, this ultimate digital product manual, we are reviewing it in the Startup Corner group. The Startup Corner group is for people that are starting their businesses from ground zero. And the reason why I started the group about 4 or 5 months, 5 years ago. I think it was over 4 years ago. And the concept is that the idea is that when you start out in your business in Nigeria, there are not too many resources that help you navigate the terrain. So you have people doing things. Some people have gone the wrong way. They've spent 4 years doing the wrong thing, then they realize that they've gone down the wrong path. Then they have to trash everything and start all over again. So I started the group basically because there was a day I wanted to buy some phone accessory, and I went to a more what would I say, a very known brand. I had to choose between a very known brand and a startup business. And I realized that I actually got better service and better prices from the startup business than I did from the well-known one. Because, well, maybe because those ones had chopped belly full or whatever. So they weren't as welcoming. I know that some people have had some cases with startup businesses that they've had the what they call it, the uh, the customer service there was nasty. But for me, it was the other way. You drop that thing. So anyway, so back to that. So I just thought, oh, it really would be nice for us to have like a community where people can come together, share tips, share ideas, share opportunities, etc. as startup business owners. And we've done that for 4 years. There is a WhatsApp group, there's a Telegram group, there's a Facebook group, we're on Instagram, and of course we have a space on the website for the startup business owners. So one of the, so to this year, I went around the beat and asked the startup. We call ourselves SUC entrepreneurs, and so I asked her what are some of the things we can be doing better. And one of the responses was for us to start book reviews. So we had actually, before the lockdown, we had actually had a physical session, sorry, 2 physical sessions. We had a virtual session. And I think maybe I was more or less scandalized because just a few days before that October 20 incident, we had I think the Saturday before, we had a virtual session. I know it just, the whole thing just kind of, it really got to me because I was like, oh wow, I don't want a case where we are having virtual sessions while people are getting killed or something. So I think my morale just kind of got killed for about 2 years because honestly, I was shocked to my that's October 20. I think I went into shock for a couple of months before I got myself back and all. So anyway, we're starting up again, and we said one of the things we said we want to do is the book reviews. And like I was telling Chidima before we started proper, we don't want to do book reviews where we tell you read one chapter a day and then you prepare notes just to come and share with us. We want to make this more impactful by asking everyone to take notes of things you're going to do today, they're going to do tomorrow, you're going to do in the next 1 week. And we'll agree, do we want to continue with the book reviews weekly or do we want to do it in 2 weeks? So when you come next, you're going to tell us what you've done with the notes you took, where are you now? so that we are sure that it's making impact. I was telling Chidima that I joined a club, a group to review a book. It was supposed to be a 40-day challenge, where we'll do one chapter a day. But I realized that if I wanted to meet up with that, I won't do justice to that book. So many months after, I'm still reading that book, but I'm taking time, I'm taking notes, and I'm like, these notes are things that I'm going to include in my daily living. So it won't just be a case of, oh, I've read that book. It's going to be a case of, yes, I read the book and I took lessons from the book, and those lessons are now things that I do. Because, some of us, we will tell you that I've read the Bible from cover to cover 5 times or 6 times or 10 times, but how many of the lessons you pick there have you started implementing? Many times for us, it's just that we're doing speed reading. So I said that just to introduce the group. I would like to just go and know who is with me for now. I trust that other people should join us. Chidima, please, can you just do a brief introduction of yourself?
Hello, my name is Chidima Ezendoka Izuki. I'm a medical laboratory scientist by day and a mom and a wife by evening. I currently work with Synlab Nigeria. I oversee operations in laboratory operations in the Enugu office. So I'm the team lead in the Enugu office. So part of my role as a team lead has been, making sure that the day-to-day business is not affected in any way. And that includes making a lot of decisions, sometimes split-second decisions, but all decisions guided by stated standard operating procedures, so that we work according to very specific and very stringent guidelines. So that I've always loved to, talk to people about health. It's something I like to do. Over time, I've struggled with the whole idea of making a job out of it, because for me, once something becomes a job, it takes away the fun from it for me. But I'm getting there.
Thank you.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. Thank you. And sorry, Susan, please, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, hello, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
So my name is Susan Ihesiaba Ihanacho. I'm a nurse and a midwife. I'm a resident in Abuja, and I work with the FCT Hospital Management Board, who say district hospital specifically. For now, I used to be in the postnatal ward, but for now I'm in the compound office. The compound office oversees the affairs of the hospital and reports back to management. My passions. Okay, I'm a wife and a mom of 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. My passions, actually writing and reading, which I haven't been doing much lately because of trying to balance work life and home life. One thing I'm passionate about too is giving talks, health talks, lifestyle modification talks. Like my former hospital where I was in the outpatient department, and I was in charge of giving lifestyle modification talk. So like every morning before we triage our patients, I'm giving like 10 to 15 minutes to talk about lifestyle modification. So it was something I was passionate about, because in the outpatient department, you get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet the old, the young, the kids, because that's where everybody comes to before you triage them to their different departments like surgical, medical, and the rest. So you get to give a general talk, health awareness talk, and then talk about lifestyle modification for like maybe diabetics, hypertensive, things like that, so that they know it's not only the drugs they depend on, but there are other things that can be done for them to achieve wellness. So I've been thinking of lately starting up something I can monetize in this economy, especially, and something I'm passionate about. So it's just being able to pinpoint what exactly it is that I can do with the different ideas in my head. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. So today, I was telling Chidima before we started that I think we found the perfect book, because this book is written by Seller. Seller is it's for selling. So you could sell your physical products like your chairs, your whatever it is you can think of that is physical as online, and you could also sell digital products. I know that you and I had, that Susan and I, we had talked about working on providing online midwifery or midwifery. I'm not sure which the best way to say it, services. And I believe that we could work that as a digital product. And if we're able to, we could come up with digital products even along those lines, get them on Seller or some other website. But since we are using Seller's book, we may just as well advertise them and get them there. So the beautiful thing, I use Seller. And one of the reasons why I love it is that once you've set it up properly, you don't have to do much apart from just directing people to the website, just telling people that, oh, I have a course on Seller. And then once you've done that, you've set up your bank account. So once they pay, it's seamless. It comes into your account. You're not following anybody. You're not chasing anybody. You can set up your digital product so that once they've paid, they can just go, you put in the link to where it is, they download it. And if you want, you can put it on the Seller website. If you want, you can redirect them to another link, your website. They go and they download the course. So no one can take your course unless they've paid, because they won't have access to the link until they've paid. And if you decide to put it on the Seller website, they can't download it. They can only use it online. So I find it really, really convenient. So that's the reason why personally I would actually endorse Seller. But we are here to enjoy a product they gave us. They gave us this digital product manual. It is free. So we are not stealing anybody's book. I was telling Chidima before we started that one thing I love about this is that this book is free. So it's not like you went on one illegitimate website and you went to go and download a book that you were not supposed to download, because that has always given me issues. Some people don't seem to mind, but I have concerns with that because I'll soon become an author. I don't want people downloading my book without paying, except I decide to give it out for free. So anyway, we are starting off with chapter 1 of the book called the Ultimate Digital Product Manual. We got it from Seller. If anyone is interested, I need to be sure. Are we still recording? Yeah, we are still recording. Okay. All right, Bona is joining us. Blessing is joining us. So she will introduce herself once she can speak. I'll check again. So I have read through the book. Susan, were you able to read the book, at least chapter 1?
No, I wasn't able because I felt it was something we were going to start together.
Okay, so the idea is of this book reviews. Okay, I also said this, so maybe just to set the ground rules. What I want is, I don't want a case where we are just speed reading the book because we want to meet a particular target of finishing the book in January or something. What I want is, I want us to take the book in manageable bits. So we'll be having these sessions. I'm looking at maybe once every 2 weeks or maybe once a week. We'll go through and then we'll take notes. We know that, okay, these are the things I learned. What am I? You take the notes and you're going to go and apply those, because I don't want us to be in that speed reading mode we've just gone through. I want it to be transformational. And for me, in being transformational, it's when you take time, you read through, you make notes, you reflect on the things that, so I don't want us to say, oh, we finished the chapter in one day, fantastic us, but what have we retained? How has it changed us? So for me, I want us to take it in small bits where we can go make changes. We know that, oh, okay, this is how fast. So I would say that the first 2 or 3 sessions, we'll devote that to chapter 1. So we are going to start off. I'm going to share my notes. Then hopefully the next time we meet, other people will share their notes as well. So for me, the first note I took was, what do I know about money? What do I know about money? I'll share that my thoughts, and then I'll ask you what you know about money. So 1 or 2 people can speak. Blessing, if you can hear me, please, can you introduce yourself?
Hi,
Blessing,
can you hear me?
please go ahead. Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Blessing Akajaku. Most times people call me Bona. I am a digital content manager. So I work with a brand agency. Basically, I'm into brand communications and advertising. Yeah, and it's good to be here.
Thank you. Welcome, Blessing. Thank you very much. So if I've been hearing my niece's music at the back, I begged her to go away. She said to go a bit away. She said she will not go. Apologies for that. Okay, so welcome, Blessing. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to go straight into my own notes. So the first thing I wrote down was, what do I know about money? That's one of the questions. The first chapter, the title is my working on your mindset or something like that. As in, it has to do with your mindset, because for many of us, the reason why we haven't started our business or why our businesses are not thriving is because we have some limiting beliefs. Our mindsets need to be addressed. So one of the questions that I was asked was, what do I know about money? And in answering that, this is what I wrote. I said, my own knowledge of money is that money is not inherently evil. Money takes on the character of the person that the money is with. So if money falls into the hands of an evil person, it will be used for evil. If money falls into the hands of a good person, it will be used for good. If money falls into the hands of someone that is neither good nor bad, it depends on the person's mood. The person can use the money for good sometimes, and the person may use the money for bad at other times. Then the other mindset, the other thing I know about money is that, and that's from the Bible. The Bible says that money is a defense, and wisdom is also a defense. But the excellency of wisdom, that's what makes wisdom more important, or why wisdom supersedes money, is that money will not give life, but wisdom will give life. And so what I've learned from that is that even in getting money, you need wisdom after you have gotten the money. Because when you have money, so when you have the money, you still need wisdom so that you can use the money effectively. Then the other thing, my limiting belief about money, that's another question, is about the limiting beliefs about money. So my limiting belief about money is that people, the one thing that limits me when I think about money is that in terms of my business, is that I found out that it's like I'm afraid to ask people to pay for my services. But that's not for what I studied in school. I have my first degree in engineering. I work as an engineer, my day job. With the engineering bits, I seem to be doing good because I don't necessarily have to negotiate. It's more or less standard. Yes, I have to negotiate at the time when I'm being employed, but it's not like it's something I have to do frequently. So I don't have that issue of should I charge people, should I not charge people. But when it comes to the services I provide, so when I'm not being an engineer, I also do real estate consulting. I don't have a problem with that because commissions are fixed. But when it comes to business consulting, that's another thing I do. I struggle with that one because I'm thinking, hey, what if I go and ask for a certain amount that the person cannot pay? So I found out that my limiting belief has been that the people that need my services cannot afford the rate that I am truly worth, and that the people that can afford the rate that I'm truly worth are not willing to pay for it. And I would say that I don't believe that that belief is wrong because, and I realized that the reason why, for example, the people that I seem to be attracting are people that cannot pay is because of the way I'm presenting my business. I've been presenting my business, it took me a while to get to that point where I realized that I've been presenting my business as a hobby. I've been presenting my business as something that I don't take it seriously enough to be able to give it the kind of branding it needs to be able to attract the kind of people that will pay. So that's on one hand. Then the other hand is that the people that are willing to use my services and I believe are not capable. Sometimes I now hear that, oh, they paid for a particular course. And I'm like, I could have given them better value. But I haven't structured I haven't put together that digital course. I've asked them that you should come and do a one-on-one with me and you pay so and so. And they're thinking about it, and it took me a while to also go back. If I want to do a one-on-one with you, I have to be physically present, as in both of us, our times have to align. But if I have to download a course, I don't even, the lecturer is doing something different at the time I have time. And I'm like, let me download it. And so it took me a while to get to that. And that's one of the things that led me to the idea of coming up with digital products. Because with digital products, it deals with the issue of syncing your time as a consultant to the person that needs it. So that's one of the things that I'm working on. And well, reading this book is helping me with my structure. Then there was one thing that in that first chapter that kind of stood out to me. The lady that wrote the first chapter, I think her name is Naomi something. I can't remember what her last name is. She said that she was a widow. I think she was widowed she was divorced. Sorry, not a widow. She was divorced in her 30s. I know she had this label. She was like, who would want to listen to a divorced woman that is just, the way Nigeria stigmatizes people that are separated or divorced. And, she realized that those labels were working in her head. And because of that, there are things that she would want to do. So I also asked myself, what labels are really limiting me? Because all of us would say imposter syndrome. But why do you have the imposter syndrome? Why? So for me, one of the things that I found out was a label that I was dealing with was that. So for example, for my engineering, I don't have an issue. I'm qualified. I have a couple of degrees, and I'm working on degrees in engineering. For the real estate marketing, I don't really need that much degrees and all. I can still work with that. But with the business consulting, the reason why I have the imposter syndrome is that I'm thinking that, oh, I don't have a business degree. And people are asking that. People are thinking, oh, she doesn't have a business degree. And it's been limiting me for a while. But I had to ask myself towards the end of last year, so sometime last year, I asked myself that, so what's stopping you from getting that degree? You can do online courses today and you will get some form of degree that makes you feel, that helps you with the imposter syndrome. But that, that degree is just to help you feel more confident. But it's not really because of the degree that you're sharing, because most times when I have those conversations with business owners and I share my insights, they're like, wow, I didn't look at it from this perspective. Thank you. But in my mind, I'm still thinking that, hey, God, my degree is in engineering. Why would someone be taking business advice from an engineer? I'm supposed to be designing things. But I started asking myself that, so this label that you're holding yourself that is causing you to have the imposter syndrome, how about you do something about it? How about you get a degree? But I'm already getting ahead of myself. So another thing is that another label that has been in my head so far is that I'm always thinking, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. I don't have time. So in fact, in coming up with a course, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't have time for that. But I've started looking at my schedule. I've started putting in the effort. I started working on the courses. I started putting together PowerPoint presentations. I started asking myself that, okay, you can devote the time and you can create, because once you can create those courses, they now begin to run on autopilot once you standardize them. So I'm working on that. I don't have time. I'm a busy person thing. And to look at where all those minutes or hours that I spend scrolling on Facebook, that I'm not doing anything in particular, I can use it. As in, I ask myself, so these days, when I'm not at work, I still make sure that I log in. I'm not spending all the time in front of the TV. I'm also still being productive. Welcome. Welcome, Oji. Once you can hear us, Oji, please, you will introduce yourself. So that's one of the other labels that I'm dealing with is, okay, so I've said, another thing that I'm dealing with is that the fact that I keep telling myself that, oh, I'm not personable, I'm not a people's person, I'm just an engineer, I'm just more comfortable dealing with the machine. But I've now looked at it, I've thought about myself a bit more. I'm not as unpersonable as I always used to tell myself. Yes, I may be introverted, but what I've discovered is that, I'm not so comfortable with speaking with a crowd, but it doesn't mean I can't do one-on-ones. It doesn't mean I cannot pre-record my course and sell it, because I don't want to always have to be in front of people. I can still do that and still have that digital product. I can write a book. A book is a digital product. I don't necessarily have to be in front of people. So building, as in those labels, they may be there. Those limiting things may be there, but there are ways to deal with them. You don't necessarily have to be in a box because you are not an extrovert. Most times people are like, oh, introverts need to be more outgoing. But the thing is that for people that are introverted like me, I don't want to be more outgoing. I don't envy the people that are outgoing. I don't feel like my life is not moving forward because I'm not outgoing. But it can be limiting when dealing with people, because most times people want that personal touch. People want to be able to be. So I've realized that for me, I don't even have a problem with being with people. What I have a problem with is being with a large crowd of people at the same time. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, oh, they're looking at me. Did I pronounce this thing well, etc., and all of that. So another way I deal with that is that I look at, as in I do some earlier before the presentation as well. I do some practice. I psych myself up. If I need to go in front of the mirror, I will, so that I can feel more confident and feel like, and for me, the reason why I want one-on-ones is that I want to be sure that you're hearing me. I want to be sure that I'm making impact. And many times I feel like when there are 30 people in a room, it's only about 10 people that are getting the benefit. The other 20 are probably lost somewhere in the middle. But I don't think I don't think everyone believes me. I've been talking for a while. So I would like to know, is there anyone that would like to share? Is there anyone else that has read the book? We're on chapter 1 now. Is there anyone else that has read the book and would like to share one or two things that they picked from there? If there's someone like that, please put up your hand. I'll stop talking and we'll listen to you. I'm speaking now because when I started, everyone on the call had not yet read chapter 1. And for the benefit of those that joined us after we started, what I'd said was that for this book review, we don't want to speed read the book. If you haven't got the book yet, please indicate in the comments and we'll talk about it. So what we want is that we want everyone to read the book. We want you to take notes. So for example, for chapter 1, we are not going to say, oh, after this session, we are not discussing chapter 1 again. No, what I want us to do is that maybe we'll break chapter 1 into 3 sessions. So the next session, we are still talking about chapter 1, what you learned from chapter 1. So anyone else that has read chapter 1 by then will be able to share. And then maybe we have 2 more sessions where we talk about chapter 1. Then we'll go to chapter 2. Then after that, we'll go to chapter 3 because, and as we're reading, we also want to be able to take notes, to say these are the things I want to do better. So chapter 1 starts with your mindset. The name of the book is The Ultimate Digital Product Manual. And so we are talking about digital products, but we may just as well call it the Ultimate Product Manual, because many of the things that we are learning here can still be applied to when you have to sell physical products. Digital products are products that you sell online. For example, your book, if you have an ebook, you sell it online to people online. It is a digital product. You have a course, an online course, and you're selling it. It is a digital product. Some people actually sell pictures. Some people do that. It is also a digital product. So digital products are products that you don't have to think of things like logistics, who is going to deliver for me, etc. Because you can send it to them maybe by email, or they can download from somewhere. You can send them to Amazon, they get your ebook from there, etc. So that's a digital product. And we are going to be saying more of that because we are in the era of the digital economy, and it's best for everyone, and it's a good way for anyone starting up to go in. The startup costs are not too high. So for example, if you decide that you want to write a book, you spend the time writing the book. I told before a good number of us joined, I had said that actually I'm writing a book. I just spoke with my editor today. My editor is done reading, and we are looking at all the extra things that need to be done before we launch the book. And so she was asking me that do I plan to print the book? And I told her that I only print on demand. It's only if someone tells me that they want the hard copy, because I've tried to sell hard copy books. I know how difficult they can be, and you would have invested so much. So that's just a breaking. I can't see any hands for anyone that wants to share what they've learned. So please, the next 2 or 3 book reviews, I'm banking on people that have read the book to share their own view. So the reason why you're hearing my voice a lot today is because I've read some parts of the book. Okay, so the other thing that was in chapter 1 was she said something about the career comparison syndrome. I know, so she was saying that sometimes you feel, in your mind, you feel you're doing well, you're good, but then you come online, or you go online and you see people, particularly LinkedIn can give you inferiority complex. Please, if I have a witness in the house, please raise your hand. You're still telling yourself that, God, I'm doing well. The next thing, you come online now, say, oh, I've just been accepted. Thank you, Chidima. I've just been accepted or I've just received the Chevening scholarship. Kiniko. You're like, God, am I a towel? God, what's going on? And you're just there, or I just received so and so grant. Or someone is being celebrated. I just met with Obama. And you're like, or someone will say, God, am I your stepchild? And so you are there, you're just like, hey, what am I even doing self? Do I know what I'm doing? And so, our question was that how does she manage that? And she shared how she manages it. I think it's something that you should get from the book. So Chidima says LinkedIn can lead you down a depressive route if it is not managed properly. And so for me, for a long time, for like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I had a LinkedIn account, but I wasn't even engaging there, because I was like, all these people that are putting on coat and tie and they are telling us lies. But at some point, I had a chat with my biological sister, and she was like, no, that's not the way. That you have to speak about what you do. Be confident, because I'll go in there. I'll see all those HR people, they are talking, and HR people can be personable sometimes when they are not being unkind. And they are like, man, these people are doing something with their lives. So me, I'm just here. I'm just doing the YDX. How can I write about it in a way that somebody will want to know something about it? But anyway, what I now started doing is that, so there was a time I had a chat with one of my what they call it, my professors in the university, and I just wrote about it that, oh, it's nice for you to check up on your professors, and it got such mileage and reach. I was like, is this how they used to do in this place? So once in a while, so at that time I used to do like every Friday or something. I'll just post a story. I think there was one that I just talked about how my daughter was asking me about water, because I was doing some work in water. I think the circular economy, and I just wrote about it. I know that one too got mileage. I was like, it's as if I've hacked this thing, but I think I've gone back to my regular introvert, just monitoring people kind of way back. Maybe soon I'll go back again to that person I was in 2021 when I was really sharing. But anyway, what she said in the career progression comparison syndrome thing was that you need to understand that some people have been doing what they're doing for 15 years, 20 years. So when they are sharing their stories, meanwhile, you've been on it for 2 years or 3 years, your stories cannot be the same. People are in different seasons in their life. So you have to understand your season. You have to understand where exactly you are on the spectrum. And just know that, okay, at this point, maybe you're in spring. So you have to, or Hamatan, someone said that we in Nigeria, we're talking about spring and summer, that we have Hamatan and rainy season. And let's be talking that way, or dry season. So you may be in dry season, but you know that seasons don't last forever. You deal with that. And sometimes it may not even be a thing of season. I remember listening to Pastor Ifeanyi Adefarasin once, and she was saying that you see a 52-year-old woman that she has built, she has houses, she's quite established. And you are 25 and you're comparing yourself to the 52-year-old woman. You just got out of school. You're still trying to get a good job. The job you got is a 40K job, but you want to be competing and be buying the type of gold that the 52-year-old woman is buying. That you need to understand that there are seasons. You're not there yet. And that's not a bad thing. I know they tell a lot of motivational speakers to tell you that if you can aspire, if you can imagine it, you can get it. They're not totally wrong. It's just that they don't tell you the part of timing, that there's a space, there's time in between. So we are not having too many conversations around that there. Okay, then she also talked about another thing she picked on, or that I picked from that chapter 1, was she said something about her service rates. So she was saying something about celebrating your small wins or so. And she was like, there was a time when she was charging $30 per hour for a course, and now she's making so. So I was like, hey, me, I'm not yet charging $30 per hour, and somebody is using $30 per hour as a starting point and all. And so I believe that we need to discuss this issue of service rates at some point, particularly for people, when you're going to be putting your digital product online. How do you price it? I believe it's an important conversation to have, and it's something to begin to think about. Because I for products, for physical products, not a service, it's easy for you to say, oh, when I buy my chair for 500 naira, I'll add my transportation cost. I'll add, the cost to add. Okay, I'll add my profit, and you're able to. Pricing is a bit easier for physical products, but for service rates, how do you price? How do you know what is, as in, what value do you put on it? How do you value your time? How do you decide? It's difficult. So I think it's a conversation we'll need to have at some point. Okay, then another point I took, she said something about investing in your personal growth. Because what I've seen for many of us is that, so for example, I've said that I want to be able to reach high value, high net worth individuals that will be willing to pay for my products. But how much am I willing to pay to invest in me. So for example, now I want to be looked at as a business consultant. If I just come and tell you, Susan, I'm a good business consultant, I'm good though, I'm excellent, you know, and I'm telling you that come and give me $5,000 because I'll give you great counsel. Susan, please, will you give me that money? Susan,
Yes, yes,
you will give
definitely.
me just because I told you that, Susan, trust me, if you give me this 5,000, your business will not be the same. Compare that
I,
to someone that maybe has received, is a scholar, has gone to school, has studied business management, maybe has received some awards here and there, and you've been, maybe the person has
has had a
viewed
lot
by
of experience doing that.
exactly, has had a lot of experience, has been, apart from, I don't want to use experience, I want to use qualifications.
Okay.
I've told you that, I went to Harvard Business School. I studied business management. I've consulted for Forbes 500, 5 or 6 Forbes 500 companies and etc. And then they tell you to bring $5,000, or they even tell you to bring $4,000. And me, I'm telling you to bring $5,000. Which one of us are you going to go for?
The one with the qualification, definitely.
So because it gives some level of authenticity. I know a lot of people say school is scam. School is scam, etc. But the thing is that for me, for someone, we are telling people to come and put their money. They have to know that they are not going to put their money in a place where they will not have to be going on Facebook to go and be calling you out because you collected their money, not deliver anything, all of those types of things. So the question is, how much are you willing to invest in your personal growth? And what are you doing to increase your capacity? Because well, I've been in a course where we're told that for time management, what happens to many of us is that we spend our time on lower value tasks that we could delegate. So we don't have time to be able to do the higher value ones. I remember seeing a post on LinkedIn where someone was like, stop taking their jobs. So that was the title. So initially I was like, what's this one talking about? So I went in there and read, and he was like that, you in your house want to be the one that is the maid. You want to be the one that will change generator. You are doing all those tasks that could be easily delegated. But the higher value tasks, like the thinking, coming up with strategy, etc., that these people may not be able to do, you're not doing because you're doing the lower value ones. And for many of us, it's just like, oh, I don't allow anybody wash my clothes. And I was in that place for a while. Like normally I don't let people wash my clothes. I don't let people touch my clothes. I wash my clothes, etc. I took a lot of pride in that. At some point, I realized that the time I spend, when I finally decided that, I'm going to allow someone to wash my clothes, when she washed the clothes, it wasn't too bad. The money I paid her versus the money I made using that time for a higher value task, we're not on the same level. And if you see the way she's kneeling down to thank me for paying her to wash my clothes, and I'm freed up to be able to achieve, as in to hit some targets that maybe for some job that I'm supposed to do. And we are both happy because I'm able to achieve my task. She gets remunerated for a task that she feels comfortable doing. But for many of us, African woman, strong woman, virtuous woman, fantastic man, I guess it also applies to the men. The men also, you are focused on, I can change the wheels of my car, etc. But maybe you need that time to do something of a higher value. So I think it's something to think about. Then the last thing I'm going to talk about and stop at is storytelling. From the mindset from that chapter 1, she taught on storytelling, and so the question is, how are we using storytelling to grow our business? Of course, I think there's an authentic way, and I think there's the fake way. And I'll end with a story I saw online. I think it was yesterday. So the young man shared the story. He said that he got an email And in that email, the person selling was like, oh, I can teach you how to tell compelling stories. So he said he said through the whole email, he didn't see any compelling story there that the person wrote. So he just thought, okay, fine, maybe the person was just didn't want to use email. So he followed the link that the lady put in the email to check. All over the website, no compelling story, no story self, no story, sorry. So the only story he now found was a mediocre story. The story was not, it didn't touch anything in him. It didn't mean anything. It didn't really make him want to do anything. So he was thinking in his mind that if this is what this person has, why should I come and pay you for you to teach me what you are not showing? And I just shared that to say that storytelling also is something that we're going to need to learn a bit. Authentic storytelling is not the one that you'll be serving us cold zobo or burnt dodo. So at that, I've come to the end of the points I took. I still am not done with chapter 1. I think I read through like maybe 3 or 4 parts of chapter 1. And so is there anyone else that has anything they would like to say, either from reading the book or from listening to me? Is there anyone that has anything to say? Any questions you'd like us to address?
For now,
Are
I
you there?
don't have any questions. Though.
Okay.
Yeah, for now, I don't have
Okay,
any
so
questions. But
all right.
the notes you made were very very helpful. The last point you made about devoting your time to high value tasks. I had that conversation with a colleague of mine in Port Harcourt. You know, we like I mentioned earlier before every other person joined, I'm actually doing a management course at the moment. So I have a ton of reading material and a ton of writing assignments to do. So she was asking me how I managed to finish all the modules on time. You know, I don't have anyone lagging. And I was telling her that I had to find a way, you know, make out time. Any little lag time I have at work, I'll try and read one section of the reading material. Then if I get home, I try again to read at home. If the kids go to bed, I continue reading until my brain can't take it anymore. And then I shut down and, you know, sleep and wake up. The cycle continues the next day. So she was complaining to me that she had that problem of, oh, how to manage her team at work. And I remember telling her, it's because you don't delegate effectively. If you delegate effectively, you should be able to just give people tasks to carry out and step away from it and trust that they will do it. It's your role is a supervisory role. So act like a supervisor. You're not supposed to be hands-on on everything. You burn out quicker than you think, and you can even die in the process. So you shouldn't do that. So when hearing you say that really resonated with the conversation I had with my colleague today. And you're right. I think one big challenge I've tried to surmount in 2022 is knowing what tasks to outsource and which ones to take on myself and do.
Thank you so much, Chidema. And that skill of knowing what to delegate and what to take on is actually a management skill that one needs to pick up. And the other thing that I actually learned, I was in a training session where we were given a mathematical what do you call it, of the benefits of training people so that you don't have to do everything. So if you even at work, there are some reports that always come you have to put the reports every week, etc. So if you decide, so maybe you spend 15 minutes every week, or maybe 20, or in some other cases, even up to 30 minutes, putting that report together. And you know that you are at work for, let's say, 10 years. Let's look at that. 30 minutes per week for 10 years. Can anyone help quickly with the math on how many years you're spending writing that report? Can someone help? I'm looking at already 26 hours in a year. And if you're looking at 10 years, that's like 260 hours, and that's almost a year writing a report. Or if you take some time, maybe you take 30 minutes, for example, to explain to one of your subordinates, or I don't know the politically correct word now, because I'm sure subordinate is now a bad word, but I don't know the new, or direct reports. I think that's the new one now. If you delegate that task, you take time to train someone to be able to take on that task. You're doing two things. First of all, you're freeing up your own time, but you're also empowering the person. So the person probably begins to feel more engaged at work. They feel like, because I've heard some people say that one of the reasons why they didn't like their boss was that their boss was not carrying them along, that they didn't know what was going on in the organization. So imagine if you get one or two of your direct reports to be responsible for that weekly report. You freed up your time, those are your 30 minutes per week. You can use 30 minutes to take that course that is pending. And when the direct report sends the first report, maybe you spend like another 10 minutes correcting. Then after that, you do 5 minutes. Then after that, the person becomes a very, very effective report writer. And you're building skills in that person, you're freeing up time for yourself. So it's something that we are all going to need to learn, because a lot of us have all those issues of, oh, I delegated to somebody and he messed up. That's because you haven't delegated properly. So it doesn't mean that delegation itself is wrong. It just means that you probably picked the wrong person to delegate to. For example, because some of us will say that for this, because of the okay, because okay, sorry, please let me attend to my baby. I'm sorry. Apologies. Apologies. So delegation is another thing we are going to need to talk about. So is there anyone else that wants to say anything before we round up today? Do I have anyone that wants to say anything again? Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.